What's up, Star Wars nerds, and welcome to another episode of Brett on Fett. And a few weeks ago at Star Wars Celebration, Hasbro announced a couple of new figures as pipeline reveals for the Black Series from the game Knights of the Old Republic. And so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Knights of the Old Republic and all the figures we've gotten so far in the modern lines, plus a couple of figures we desperately need from that game in the Vintage Collection. Let's get to it.
This isn't over, Malak.
Your friends do not give up easily, Revan. You always could inspire loyalty. But even the three of you together cannot stand against my power.
For the Jedi! I'll hold Malak off. You two get out of here. Find the Star Forge.
No, Bastila, he's too strong. No!
Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 23 of Brett on Fett. So back in 2003, the first ever web-based role-playing game set in the Star Wars universe was released on PC and Xbox. And that game was Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And it was a massive hit. The game's story took place in the old Galactic Republic about 4,000 years prior to the events of the original Star Wars trilogy. And it was full of an intriguing plot with twists and turns and a variety of interesting characters. And by far, the two most popular characters from that game were darthrevan and darthmalak. So let's go over quickly who darthrevan and darthmalak were. Revan and Malak were former Jedi heroes who lived during the Old Republic era. As Jedi, they fought against the Mandalorians in a massive galactic war. Revan and Malak were very close friends as well as allies. During a battle with the Mandalorians on the Outer Rim planet of KOTOR, Revan discovered a mask of a female Mandalorian who had died 10 years earlier there at the hands of her own Mandalorian people while trying to prevent them from slaughtering the Catharan forces who had already surrendered. This sacrifice inspired Revan, who used it to also inspire his fellow Jedi fighting aside him. He put the mask on and vowed to never take the mask off until the Mandalorians were defeated. Revan and Malak eventually led the way to the defeat of the Mandalorians. However, soon after their victory, they encountered a Sith leader of the ancient Sith Empire who was able to turn them to the dark side and into Sith Lords, henceforth known as Darthrevan and Darthmalak. Later, Darthrevan would assume the title of Dark Lord of the Sith, with Darthmalak being his apprentice, and the two would go on to form a new Sith Empire and declare war against the Galactic Republic. It was during this time that Revan and Malak got into a lightsaber fight against each other, and it ended with Revan slicing off the jaw of his apprentice, requiring Malak to wear a steel prosthetic jaw. Later, during a battle, Revan was betrayed and left for dead by Malak, who wanted to take over Revan's position as head of the Sith Empire. However, Revan did not die and instead was captured by the Jedi, who wiped his memory and then used Revan for their own cause. Hence, Revan turning back to the light and becoming a Jedi Knight once again. As a Jedi, Revan would eventually face off against his old friend and apprentice Malak in a lightsaber duel and defeat him, leading to a victory for the Republic over the Sith Empire. So of course, with the massive popularity of the game, it was almost inevitable that we would get some action figures based on characters from Knights of the Old Republic. And the first ones we saw were in 2007 when Hasbro released both Darthrevan and Darthmalak in the 30th anniversary line. And I happen to have those two figures in my collection, so let's take a closer look at them. Alright, so here are the two figures from Knights of the Old Republic in that 30th anniversary line, starting with Darthrevan. You can see he is a Toy Fair Fans Choice figure. There's a look at the artwork, which is really cool. And then, of course, with 30th anniversary, you're going to get that collector's coin, which is always a nice touch. And, you know, this is a great looking figure, mainly because the character is so cool. And so, as long as you capture the basic look of the figure, you really couldn't go wrong, visually speaking, for this figure. However, there were some issues. For example, the mask is not an accurate representation of his mask from the game. I'll try to throw up a photo to show you what I'm talking about. Also, there were limitations on the articulation for this figure. For example, the hood and his cape were all one molded piece, and so you could not move his head independently of his hood without covering up his face with like the side of the hood, if you know what I mean. So that was a real problem for loose collectors. Also, he only comes with the one red lightsaber versus in the game where he has both a red and purple lightsaber. So cool looking figure, but definitely has its issues. Alright, and next let's take a look at Darthmalak. Again, another pretty cool looking figure. A little more basic than Revan in my opinion, but still pretty cool. There's a look at the artwork, which is great. And then, of course, you got that 30th anniversary collector coin. And, of course, the coolest part about this figure is his metal prosthetic jaw piece, which can be removed. That upper part can be removed to expose his, messed up jaw. I'll try to put up a photo of what that looks like. You can see it's number 35 in the series, and looking in the back, you got the image of the figure himself, a repeat of that same cool artwork, and of course a picture of the wave there. So another cool looking figure. Again, similar articulation issues with this guy, so could definitely use the vintage collection treatment. After the release of those two figures, Hasbro would go on to release a few more figures from Knights of the Old Republic in both 3.75 inch scale and 6 inch scale. In 2011, the Jedi Knight Bastila Shan was introduced to the Vintage Collection as VC69. This featured an awesome looking cardback of the character, however a pretty bad looking figure in my opinion due to its unfortunate face sculpt. And if you watched Bread on Fett episode 18, this is one of the figures where I try to fix the card backs to be more consistent with showing the title of the game. And in 2014, Bastila Shan was re-released as part of the short-lived Black Series 3.75 inch scale line. This was in the orange line that they re-released her. Same figure, just repackaged for that Black Series line. In 2016, Hasbro released Darthrevan in their 6 inch scale Black Series under the red line. This featured a much more accurate and articulate version of Darthrevan. In 2020, the first ever Jedi Knight version of Revan was released on the Black Series as part of the gaminggreats line, although technically he was listed as being from the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes game, which is a mobile game that features characters from all Star Wars media. In 2021, Hasbro released a new character from Knights of the Old Republic, that being the Wookiee Zaalbar. And like Jedi Knight Revan, Zaalbar would also be released on the Black Series as part of the gaminggreats line for the game. And finally, in 2021, Darthrevan would be re-released for the Black Series, but this time under the Lucasfilm 50th Anniversary Archive Collection. I have this version of Revan as well as the Jedi Knight Revan in my collection, so let's take a quick look at them. Alright, so here are the two versions of Revan I have in the Black Series, and starting with Darthrevan from the Lucasfilm 50th Anniversary Archive line. This is a re-release, but you could see that they nailed the look of the mask on this figure. The paint apps are awesome with the gold and black and red. You got the artwork there, and you got the dual lightsabers like he's supposed to have. Looking on the back, it's got that typical awesome Black Series artwork, and then you got the Lucasfilm timeline that's on pretty much all the 50th anniversary figures. But great looking version of the dark side Revan there. And then on the light side Revan, you got Jedi Knight Revan. This is from the gaminggreats line. And man, just a gorgeous figure. I love everything about the way this figure looks. There's a look at the artwork, and you can see this technically says it's from Galaxy of Heroes, which really, we all know it's Knights of the Old Republic. Galaxy of Heroes doesn't really count because it's like a mobile app that features characters from all over Star Wars just kind of thrown in together, so it's kind of silly. but man, just a beautiful looking figure. Would love to have either one of these, if not both, simply scaled down to 3 3/4 for the Vintage Collection line. Alright, so like I mentioned at the very top of the video, a few weeks ago during Hasbro's panel at Star Wars Celebration, they revealed 2 more Knights of the Old Republic figures coming down the pipeline. However, once again, they would be for the 6-inch scale Black Series. These figures would be Darthmalak and Bastila Shan. And while I'm glad the Black Series is getting those 2 important characters to join Revan in that line, it's just another kick to the teeth for Vintage Collection fans who have been pining for Revan and Malak in the TVC line for years. The only Revan and Malak figures we got in 3.75-inch figures were okay, but could be so much better with a TVC update. I went ahead and put my bad Photoshop skills to work once again to come up with a rendering of how I would love a TVC card back to look like for both Revan and Malak. With all the new Star Wars media coming out, it is unlikely Hasbro will give us both of these figures on TVC, but there may be some hope that at least Revan will make it to the line. Back in 2019, Hasbro actually was going to put Revan in the line as VC-150. However, it was going to be a straight repack of that 30th anniversary line figure, which was completely substandard for 2019. Fans revolted at the plan to use the same Revan, and so Hasbro pulled him from the line. But if anything, I think that experience showed Hasbro how important this character is to the fans. They didn't revolt because they didn't want the figure. They revolted because they want the figure done right, because he's that important to them. And I really hope that Hasbro took that to heart and will consider that for possibly redoing this figure completely and reintroducing him into the Vintage Collection. It should also be noted that Revan has done very well in fan voter polls for TVC wish lists. And on a personal note, if you watched my episode 17, you'll know that I ranked Revan as number 2 on my wish list for Black Series figures needing to be in the Vintage Collection line. And I would be perfectly happy if they literally took the Black Series version of Darth Revan and simply scaled him down to 3 3/4 scale. Alright, so that's going to do it for this episode. Let me know in the comments if you feel as strongly as I do about Hasbro getting Darth Revan and Darth Malak in the Vintage Collection, or at least getting Darth Revan in the line. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Please remember you can follow me on both Instagram and Twitter. Take care, and we'll see you next time.